Yeah, I was right. We can get a dead bush from this thing. What's up, agents? Zero here, and welcome back to another Minecraft Redstone video. Today, I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different. Today, I'm actually going to be checking out an older Redstone map of mine. This is called 10 Hopper Uses. Now, I built this map back before I started YouTubing, so it's been a while since I've made this map, and I had honestly forgotten this map until yesterday, I guess technically 2 days ago, according to when I record these videos. But the reason why I remembered about this map is because a user by the name of ROKIE the Great actually did a video on it. I'm gonna make sure to have a link to their channel down in the description, and go check them out. They only have like 5 subscribers as far as me recording this, so they could use a little bit of help. So go check them out. Go check out the video review they did on this map. I'll make sure to have a link to that video in the description as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So as you can tell, I've got mobs spawning around everywhere. This is a super flat map with mobs everywhere. That's mainly because, well, the settings on this map, there was no game rules to prevent any mob from spawning. Now that's really important. So let's go ahead and get started. So obviously I do, whenever I make a map, I always have this sign up here. So YouTubers send me a link, I'd love to see it. So yeah. So let me go ahead and explain this map really quick. So this map will show you 10 different ways you can use hoppers in MCP. Well, for the majority of this, well, it occurs to all versions of Minecraft, but this was made when MCP was still a thing. We're now in Bedrock. So yeah, this is basically a redstone map, as you can tell, that I made to kind of give a little bit of tutorial to people on how to actually use hoppers, and I'm actually quite proud of what I managed to do in this map, and I wish I had done a video on it at one point or another, but I just didn't. But now that I remember that I actually had, that's why I'm doing it. So to start things off, obviously we have the crafting recipe for the hopper, because I do believe, I don't remember if this is the case because it was quite a while ago, but I do believe I made this map shortly after hoppers were introduced, so I felt it necessary to have a little bit of a tutorial on how to actually craft the hopper, as well as what the hopper actually looked like. So yeah, it's part of the reason I do believe why I did this. And there's also a sign right here that mentions MC Amino. Guys, is MC Amino even still a thing? I mean, I remember back in the day, when I made this map, it was a general place where you could send information about your creation stuff. It was basically like a Minecraft social media. I don't think it's even relevant anymore. Let me know down in the comments if any of you still, in fact, do use MC Amino. I don't think I'm ever going to use it again because it's kind of an old thing. Anyway, enough talking about this map. Let's go ahead and get started with all this stuff that you can do with hoppers. So the first thing is a stolen item prank. So this is basically a way that you can prank your friends into thinking they've lost items. So as you can tell, this is actually a trapped chest. You can't actually tell by default, but if you look closely, there's actually a red ring around the little lock on the chest. That indicates that it's actually a trap chest. If we go to this chest, this is a normal chest. As you can tell, there's no red ring around. That tells you that there's it's not a trap chest. So inside this chest I have a few items, which if I go ahead and put the items inside of here, as you can tell, they stay inside of it. But as soon as I leave this chest and I go back into it, as you can tell, some of the items have disappeared. That's because trapped chests, when they're open, give off a redstone signal. That signal locks these hoppers so that nothing can flow through them. And as you can tell, items are flowing through in sets of 2, because there are obviously 2 hoppers. And you can just grab the stuff just like this. Now, it is a little bit more obvious to tell that there are, in fact, hoppers here, not because of the glass and the fact there's holes back here, but if you look close enough, there's like a 1 pixel width between the edge of the chest and the edge of the block it's on top of, so it is somewhat obvious, but not entirely, but it is a little bit of an interesting prank to pull on someone. Next up on the list, we have the minecart emptier, and this is actually very simple. So let's go ahead and grab our minecart with a chest. We go ahead and place this down right here. We've got ourselves some items down in here. So if we go ahead and go into this minecart with chest and put items in here, and we're going to go ahead and send this off. As you can tell, it goes back and forth, and it passes over this hopper. As you can tell, 2 of the items have in fact gone into the chest. That's because hoppers will actually pull items directly out of any block with an inventory that's in a minecart. So it can be either a minecart chest, it can be a minecart hopper. I do believe there are minecart furnaces, but I don't necessarily know if they have an inventory, because I know for a fact they're technically powered minecarts. You give it coal or charcoal and they'll move on their own, but I don't know about actual inventory space. Next up on the list, we have a gambling machine. Now this is the second version apparently. So I separated this build into 2 sections. The redstone, which is back here, which this was made back before adventure mode was a thing, so I kind of had to block off the redstone with glass in the hopes that no one would actually go after it. But the redstone behind this is actually relatively simple, all things considered. I'll make sure I have a link in the description to, I do believe I made a tutorial on this particular build, so I'll have a link in the description to that video if you want to check that out. It's an older tutorial, to be completely honest, but I'm fairly certain that it will still work. Obviously it's going to still work, because otherwise this thing wouldn't do anything. So inside this chest I have myself 10 emeralds and 10 lapis. So here's how this works. Test your luck. Insert an emerald. Only works with emerald. Try it. And then second you press the button. Maybe good, maybe bad. Try and see. So here's the way this works. If I go ahead and put just a single lapis in here, and I press the button, as you can tell, absolutely nothing happens. And as you can tell, the lapis is still in here. However, if I go ahead and put the emerald in here, I almost said lapis, that wasn't right. I press this button, and there it goes. And I just got a diamond from the emerald. If I go back into this dropper, as you can tell, it actually ended up taking the emerald. Now, let me go back into the redstone behind this. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but I will at least try to explain the redstone as best I can. So here's how this works. Inside of that hopper in there, I'm not going to break the glass because I don't want to ruin the map, but inside of that hopper, the first hopper is actually a set of items that will detect if an emerald is put in there. And I've got a detector circuit right here, which this will know whether or not it's got the right item in it. As you can tell, it didn't work with the lapis, but it worked with the emerald. If it's not right, then it's not going to go into the hopper. If it's correct, it's going to go into this hopper right here. That's going to go into this hopper and down into the chest. Meanwhile, at the same time, there's going to be a redstone signal that's going to travel through here. This is going to go through that redstone torch. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the corner of the actual lit torch. That's going to power this redstone torch, and then up there is a line of redstone that is going around, and it's going to power that dropper all the way up there. And I do in fact have the dropper covered up by the slab. The items will in fact travel through the slab, and what you get out of this dropper is entirely random. But as you can tell, it says maybe good, maybe bad, try and see. Well, I already got myself a diamond out of there just out of luck. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the rest of my emeralds, and I got myself a spire. That's not good luck whatsoever. I'm going to spend the rest of my emeralds and see what all I can get. So this is emerald number 3. If I go ahead and go in here, this is going to give me a cobweb. As you can tell, there is a little bit of variety from what we can get from this machine. I do believe, yeah, I was just about to say we can get golden apples from this thing. As far as the other drops we can get from this, I think I remember from watching Rocky the Great's video. Oh, this is not even. I wasn't gonna say that. I think I remember from Rocky the Great's video that we can in fact get dead bushes from that, which is not really something that you would want to get to begin with. Okay, we got ourselves another diamond. We're actually getting relatively lucky, all things considered. We got 2 diamonds. We got 1 golden apple. Now you can get minus 2 unlucky items, so that's actually not too bad. So let's go ahead and, you know what, let's go ahead. No, you know what, no, never mind. I'm just going to put in 1 emerald at a time. Admittedly, we'll only do 1 emerald from a button press, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it this way. So let's go ahead and do 1 more emerald, and let's press the button. Let's see what we get from this one. Yeah, I was right. We can get a dead bush from this thing. Alright, so let's go ahead and put in 1 more emerald, and we press this button 1 last time. Actually, this isn't even the last time. Ooh, quartz. I'd forgotten I had that in there. Final emerald. Let's go ahead and see what this is going to get us, and let's see. And another dead bush. So, all things considered, we got relatively lucky. So, I'll go ahead and give it that. Let's go ahead and put all this stuff away. So, that actually wasn't too bad of a run. Next up, we have right here, this is a pulse lever. Now, I have made a few pulse levers back in my redstone days. In fact, there's multiple ways you can build a pulse lever, and this is actually relatively simple. All I have to do is press this lever once, and it's going to activate this dispenser, which is going to give off water. If I press it a second time, it's going to turn the water off. Now, technically speaking, you could in fact use an observer to do the exact same thing. The thing is, observers weren't part of the game when I made this map. And I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the redstone behind this. So this is exactly how it works. So when you flick the lever, it's going to turn on this redstone torch, which is going to create a pulse from this hopper-dropper monostable circuit. And then you flick the lever in the other direction. This torch is going to turn on. That's going to activate this hopper-dropper monostable circuit. If we come up here, you can get a better look at what the redstone actually looks like. So this is basically what's going on here. So as soon as it activates the hopper-dropper monostable circuit, it's going to send a pulse through all the way to the dispenser all the way on the top, and that's exactly how that's actually going to end up working. So it's actually relatively simple. And how on earth did you manage to get within the bounds of the map? I have absolutely no idea. Okay, whatever. Let's go ahead and ignore that. So, next up on our list, this is a hopper clock. Now, this is actually relatively simple to understand. So, I just went ahead and started this hopper clock. As you can tell, the lights are now going around in a little bit of a circle. That's because of the way hoppers work. Well, actually, it's not even hoppers. It's the way comparators work. So, as soon as a comparator reads that there's something inside of an inventory block, it's going to give off a redstone signal. And because of the way hoppers work, they push items around according to the direction of I don't know how long I'm going to be able to show this, but there's a little nub right there that's facing into this hopper right here, and it's just going around in a circle, creating a circuit right there. Okay, so next on our list, this is an auto furnace. Now, this is actually relatively simple to understand. So, how you set this up, you have a furnace, and you have a hopper underneath it going into a chest. You have a hopper going into the side of it, with the chest above it. This is your fuel input. So if I go ahead and put coal in here, it's going down. And so now if we go into this furnace, it's filling up the fuel slot. Now up here, this is the smelting slot, and you funnel it in from the top of the furnace. So if I go ahead and put the raw chicken in here, this is going to go into the furnace and slowly fill up. And as you can tell, it is now smelting the chicken. And as soon as the chicken is done smelting, it's going to disappear from the furnace and end up inside of this chest. So it's actually relatively simple. Next up on our list, this is an item collector. We're going to get a little bit of an extra item that I wasn't expecting. So here's how this works. I have a simple redstone circuit going up to the top of this. This is going into all of these droppers. If I go ahead and press this button, all these droppers are going to dispense of item. If I go ahead and press this button, this is going to activate the minecart with a hopper, and this is going to put all the items inside of the hopper minecart, because the way hopper minecarts work, they will actually go ahead and pick up items on the ground. And something I did not do for this map that you can in fact do is that they will actually pick up items on top of blocks. They're directly above them. So that is something good to know. I just didn't do it for this map. Next up on the list, we have a key card lock. Now, this is another tutorial of which I did on the channel. So if you want to check out the I can't talk today. If you want to check out the tutorial on how to build this thing, there will be a link down in the description. It's actually relatively simple to do. So inside of this, we have 3 pieces of carbon. They're all renamed. So here's a red key card, which is right key card. The green one is the wrong key card, and the blue is the broken key card. I was so original here. So basically, here's how this works. This works exactly the same as the gambling machine over here. That's kind of convenient that I put them directly across from each other. So it works exactly the same. So absolutely nothing happens here because it's not the right one. If I go ahead and do the same thing with the green one, which is the wrong key card, absolutely nothing happens. On the other hand, if we go ahead and go back in here, I did not mean to exit the inventory. If I go ahead and put in the right key card and I press this button, it opens the door for a short amount of time. And it works exactly the same, as I mentioned, as the gambling machine. This one you can actually more easily see the redstone behind this. So here's how this works. So if I go inside this hopper, this is how it works. So these are the items, and oh my gosh, I forgot why I even named these things. Basically, it's looking for this one right here. So as soon as it detects it's the right one, this comparator is going to increase a signal strength from 1 to 2. What that's going to do is make it so that it's not just this redstone dust powered, but also this redstone dust, which is going to unpower this redstone torch, which is going to allow the item to go back inside of the dropper. Because if we go back inside the dropper inventory, which I'm going to do in just a moment, it's going to put it back in there. But if it's the wrong item, it's not going to go into the hopper regardless. At the same time, once this redstone dust is powered right here, this is going to go into this repeater and create a redstone clock right here. This is a pulse extender. Because of the way comparators work, this is going to allow this door to stay open for a lot longer. So that's how the redstone works, and it's a similar story with the gambling machine. Let me go ahead and show you. So the correct key card is in fact back inside of the dropper, as I mentioned. So it's a similar story for the gambling machine, as I mentioned, except instead of it going to a pulse extender, it's going straight up to the dropper up at the top. Okay, so next up on our list is number 9. This is an egg farm, and I can only assume that these chickens are actually doing a decent job of what they're supposed to do. So here's what's going on. As soon as a chicken lays an egg, it's going to land on top of these slabs. Hoppers can actually pick up items that are standing on top of slabs. They cannot pick up items that are on top of full blocks, as opposed to over there, hopper minecarts can in fact pick up items from above full blocks. Hoppers by themselves cannot do that, so they've been hard working. Why are there feathers and raw chicken in here? I don't remember doing this. You know what? Whatever. Not much I can do about it. Last but not least, number 10. This is an item sorting system, and the redstone behind this is actually relatively simple. This is using the exact same item detection mechanic as over here at the key card lock and over here with the gambling machines. The exact same mechanic. So here's how this works. Inside this chest I have a whole bunch of items in here, and here's what's going to happen. There is a chest all the way up here. So if I go ahead and put items inside of this chest up here, and I missed the gold somehow. So if I go ahead and put the items up into here, these are going to automatically get filtered down into these chests. As you can tell, it's going down into these chests just as normal. However, there's a chest down here that if it detects items that are not part of the sorting system, they're going to appear in this chest. As you can tell, the potatoes are starting to come in here, and so the rotten flesh. So if we go ahead and check the remainder of these chests, as you can tell, all 10 items of each type have found their way into the chest. And the redstone behind this, as I mentioned, is relatively simple. So if we go inside of this hopper right here, so yeah. Okay, so I put some rather interesting items inside these hoppers. I'm still a little bit of a weirdo, to be completely honest, but even more so back then. So here's how this works. These hoppers automatically give off a redstone signal of 1. And as soon as they give off a redstone signal of 2, which happens when they find the correct item, then they're going to send a signal to this redstone dust, to this repeater. This repeater is going to end up unpowering this redstone torch, which is going to put items inside of your proper chest. The only downside is this hopper right here. This is automatically going to lock one item regardless, and that's just because of the way redstone works. Because this is powering this hopper and this hopper at the same time, so they both get locked. So unfortunately, this does cause this one to steal one of your items, but as you could tell, it only has 10 items inside of each of them, which is what we started out with. But you know what, since we went ahead and covered every single aspect of this map, I think it's safe to say that this is actually a good place to go ahead and end off the video. Now, before I actually go ahead and end off this video, I'm going to say one quick thing. So, as I mentioned at the start of this video, don't 100% remember if I said this. I've got bad memory in some of these things. Anyway, I actually made another redstone tutorial map back before I started YouTubing. In fact, I think I made this back before I started YouTubing. And come next week, I'm actually going to download that map. I'm going to test it to make sure it actually still works, and if it does, I'm actually going to record a video on it to show you guys exactly what was going on in that map. It had everything to do with observers. This is back when observers were first introduced into the game. It was actually a relatively cool map, if I'm being completely honest. If I remember correctly, it should still work. But you know what? Other than that, this is where I'm going to go ahead and end off this video. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you did, make sure that like button. One more than make sure that subscribe button for future content. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at AgentCP0 to stay updated. This has been Zero Studios. Thank you guys for watching. And with that, I will see you guys later.